Before we begin with your reading, I would like to thank all of you for your likes, your subscribes, and your donations on my channel. Information for personal readings can be found in the description down below, as well as information to join the membership side of my channel, where I upload additional videos each week. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump directly into your reading. What do we have at the foundation, please? Five of Cups in reverse. Scorpio energy at the foundation. Okay, what do we have at the sacral? Hermit, Virgo energy at the sacral. And let's get one more. Ace of Swords in reverse. Air energy at the solar plexus. Okay, now what I'm seeing here is aligning with a whole bunch of downloads that I've been receiving for the past few days leading up to this reading. The Five of Cups in reverse is an energy of healing. It's an energy of moving on from a cycle of sadness. Some sort of disappointing karmic pattern has been playing out in your life, and the universe is giving you this window of opportunity to finally move forward and step into alignment with your true north and your destiny. Now, the Hermit card is the process by which you do this. So the Hermit is an energy of deep introspection. This is you reconnecting, I just heard, with the higher authority. So it feels like you have been in some sort of cycle that has been distracting you from your higher purpose, from the very reason that you're even here. But now you are preparing to enter into this timeline where you're actually going to be able to focus directly on this with less distractions than you had in the previous cycle. Now, the Ace of Swords at the solar plexus in reverse is speaking about some sort of mental fog. There's an energy of confusion here. There's some sort of stress, but I feel that this is something you're overcoming now. It's like you are being given the power to overcome some sort of mental blocks in your life that I feel were directly connected to this karmic cycle that were holding you back. Now, the messages that I was receiving leading up to this reading all have to do with some sort of creative potential that you were given before you were even incarnated into this life cycle. Now, the downloads I was receiving were emphasizing how this is not something that was just given to you so you can ignore. This was given to you so you can actually do something with it in this particular life cycle. And most people have this, right? It's when you have that sort of true heart's desire, you have some sort of inner calling, you may have a very obvious talent, or there's just something that you're blessed with doing, but you're not actually doing anything with it. It's like the universe gave you the tools, but you are not actually using them to their full potential. And for some of you, even at all. But it all has to do with this karmic cycle that you're being given the opportunity to move on from. Okay, so this is becoming clearer now. I feel that the universe has opened up a passage for you. They're basically saying to you, hey, you ready to move on from this? Because we're ready to put you in your allocated position and really get on with the show here. You have way too much creative potential. You have been gifted with something really special here, and you can no longer ignore this. And, you know, I recently heard something about how ignoring your creative potential or just not doing anything with it has a way of poisoning your soul. Now, the phrase poisoning your soul is an interesting word choice, but again, when you think about how you'd be in an alternate reality where you're not accessing these gifts, so let's say it's like a lower vibrational version of yourself, that's like a metaphorical representation of the poisoning of the soul. It's very similar to taking the red pill or taking the blue pill. When you take the red pill, you accept the painful truth of reality because there's really no other way. Or when you take the blue pill, you stay asleep inside the matrix, so to speak. It's you remaining in the blissful ignorance. Now, that blissful ignorance is a type of poison for your soul. And when you connect this to the topic of your creative potential and this thing you've been blessed with, it could be that you accepting some sort of truth about some sort of previous karmic cycle is exactly what you need to be able to access this particular creative potential. It's to say that until you accept the truth about something, you remain in this blissful ignorance and you're not accessing this creative potential that you have been blessed with by the divine. What do we have at the heart position, please, Spirit? This just followed what I said. The Six of Cups represents a blessing from the divine. And see how We have this elderly couple here. Then we have these two children here. It just gives timelines like I was speaking about. I just heard your higher self is trying to align you right now. So you make the decision to choose yourself. And I just heard past, present, and future. Yeah, a lot of you have this sort of floating charge inside of you. And what this means is that potential is sort of hanging around in your energy, but it's being put into the wrong things, or it was put into the wrong things. It's like you take all of this potential, all of this creative power, and it's just been spent on all the wrong people, on all the wrong situations. But now you're being given an opportunity to turn this all around. And look, I would go as far as saying probably all people go through this sort of cycle first before you start focusing on these things. Because what you find is going down this alternate path for a while where you're not focusing on your potential turns out to be just what you needed to be able to focus on that creative potential or whatever it may be for you. It's to say that you needed to gather wisdom on this alternate cycle and put it to use in this new cycle where you are now aligning with your highest self. And I know this one all too well because I went through this. But now that I've gotten to this point in my life where I'm focusing on my mission and my highest potential, it's all of the things that I went through on that alternate cycle that I can refer back to. It's like a point of reference. So it makes all of this make sense. But what I'm picking up here is that there's a window of opportunity, and that window of opportunity is right now. It's like the divine saying, okay, you've done your time, let's go. Yeah, the divine is wanting you to start focusing on yourself. The time is now. It's never been a more perfect time to do this. I feel that a lot of you are in these cycles that you're trying to close out right now. Things that are going on in your personal life. A lot of these situations are directly connected to your emotions. It could have to do with family dynamics, and some of you could be dealing with romantic relationships, friendships. Whatever it is, the divine is making it very clear to you what's for your highest good and what's not. It's like you're at some sort of crossroads and the divine is saying to you, okay, well, what's it going to be? This is what you've been asking for, but now's the time to make the decision. What do we have at the throat, please, Spirit? 6 of Swords at the throat. Perfect. So the 6 of Swords is your rite of passage. This is an energy of moving on from some sort of pain here, which is what we have with this 5 of Cups at the foundation. The 6 of Swords is also some sort of necessary transition that you need to make. For some of you, this could be literal relocation or travel or just some sort of moving. This could be directly connected to all of this. It's to say that you need to get away from a certain environment or certain group of people or some sort of mindset or behavioral pattern in order to access this 6 of Cups at the heart. You know, that 6 of Cups at the heart is the most accurate depiction of the divine blessing you with this creative potential, with this vision, with this true heart's desire. And it's central to the entire reading here. It's like all of this down here is speaking about your awareness surrounding this situation. The divine is making it clear to you. This hermit energy is helping you navigate this territory, is helping you understand that there's a higher power at work in your life, trying to remove you from these karmic cycles, and also show you that there's energies that have been in direct opposition with this path forward. 6 of Swords. What do we have at the third eye, please, Spirit? 8 of Cups. Pisces energy at the third eye. So the 8 of Cups is you withdrawing, moving on, withdrawing from these environments, from these situations, from these cycles that were in direct opposition with this 6 of Cups energy at the heart. You know, if we were to really extract the simplest message from all of this right now, something in and around your life has been blocking you from accessing something that was given to you by the divine. It's like saying an individual has all this potential for greatness, but they're surrounded by all these negative people that either don't believe in them or are jealous of them and do everything they can to whisper words of self-doubt in their ear so they never access that great potential that they have inside them. And this is all too common this day and age. Family dynamics can see this sort of thing take place all the time, especially when there's somebody who's very blessed and then there's another person who maybe isn't as blessed because, well, let's face it, maybe they're not the greatest person, okay? Maybe an individual here was chosen for something because they're different. They have some sort of divine spark inside of them. And maybe they're surrounded by a bunch of people who are very devilish. And I would say that most of the time, this is how it goes down. Very rarely, if at all, do you ever hear about somebody having a divine spark inside of them and being born into a family that all have a divine spark inside of them too, that all support and lift each other up. I've never heard of that once, ever. The very story of Jesus also supports this idea. He wasn't supported. Nobody believed in him. They just thought he was Mary and Joseph's son from down the street. Nobody in his hometown thought there was anything special about him. They sure as hell weren't going to accept that he was the Messiah. This is exactly what I'm getting here. See, some of you need to start accepting this. You need to accept that the path that you're on isn't going to be supported by anybody. Some of you have just wanted to be accepted by your friends groups, your families. You wanted to be supported by these people, and they just don't have it in them. They're not meant to. Your path is unique. It's a path that very few get to take in this life. So you have to understand that when you have that divine spark inside of you, you not only have to protect that, but you need to understand that you have a great responsibility on your shoulders. And a part of that responsibility is actually accepting everything that we're saying here. Accepting the truth about people in your environment and who supports you and who doesn't is probably the hardest part about all of this. This is when you start to realize that you're the black sheep, you're the outcast, you're the weird one. And this is not something that is easy to accept at first. As time goes on, it becomes easier, and you start to realize that it's actually kind of cool. You also start to see that there's no other way. But this also comes with the realization that these other people are completely asleep. It's like they took the blue pill. And it's hard for them to accept that you chose the other path. And it has little to do with love. It has to do with jealousy. To know that you are navigating a path that they'll never get to take in their life is unacceptable to them. So this is when people start to make your life more difficult, which is what we're picking up inside this energy here, which is this other cycle that you have been given the opportunity to move on from. Some of you are already on the other side of this. There's always different groups of people graduating on from these cycles. But some of you are going through this right now. Then on the bottom of the deck, we have the World card. So the World card is an energy of completion of this cycle. And it looks like she's stepping through a portal, right? From one timeline to the next. It's like this is the opportunity, the window of opportunity, literally, that the universe has given you. Hey, let's go. You ready? And I just noticed as well, she's got the wands in her hand. So Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands represents creative potential, which is exactly what we've been speaking about in this energy. What do we have at the crown, please, Spirit? Hermit again. Virgo energy at the crown. This Hermit is different in that it shows this crowd of people. It's almost like these are all the people that are, it's like they took the blue pill, right? And then there's this one hermit amongst this entire crowd, but going the other way. It just gives path least traveled kind of energy. It's like somebody who's awake inside the Matrix and there's just all these NPCs walking around. You have the divine spark and they don't. This is what this comes down to. You were chosen, they weren't. This isn't to talk down on other people. I just want to make that very clear here, but it does come down to the way people live their life. There's a purity that exists inside of you, which is why you have been given access to this to begin with. But you've always been this way. When you have this level of purity inside of you, it's hard for you to come to terms with the fact that not all people are like this. Again, it goes back to what I said about accepting that people are the way they are, being the most difficult part of all this. This truth about having the divine spark and not having the divine spark it feels weird to think about it, right? Because a part of you probably wishes that everybody could have it. Look at what you had to go through to get to this point. Look at the way other people are treated who have this divine spark. There's a kind of common thread there. Notice how everybody goes through the same sort of thing when they hold this higher calling. It's not by coincidence. It's a pattern that we have seen across all of history from the very beginning of time. It's always been there. This is an energy of a reset. It's like a lot of you have been living out this reoccurring script, but there's about to be a reboot. It's like the mental restrictions that you have been facing while in this reoccurring script are like corrupted files. But you're now beginning a journey down a path where you are purging out this old data and finding some level of inner peace. This is your soul's evolution, and it's all connected to this inner calling, to this creative potential, to this blessing. All of this is a part of your story. Make no mistake, this is unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to. But you are at this unique point in your life right now where the universe is asking you to move on from this old script. That's easier said than done a lot of times because we get so used to things being a certain way that the very act of breaking out of that cycle can be, it will likely be the most difficult thing you've ever had to do in your life. But the reward for this it can't be measured. It's beyond anything material. This is the evolution of your spirit. This is a divinely led mission that is influenced by this divine spark. Words can't even really do it justice. But in order to access this, you must be authentic. You must be pure. That's why you were chosen for this. Because despite what you've gone through in your life, despite where you may be at in this very moment, the divine says that at your core, you hold that spark. So don't judge yourself too harshly based on where you might be right now. Those things don't matter. All that matters is what's inside of you. And that's a light that can't be extinguished, but you can choose to ignore it. And that's why this message is coming through, because if you were to ignore it any further, you'd be committing a universal disservice to not only yourself, but a very large collective of other people as well that are all counting on your alignment, whether they know this or not. It's like your decision influences how the very fabric of time is woven from this very moment. What do we have at the foundation, please, Spirit? Wheel of Fortune, red in its negative polarity at the foundation of the reading, Sag energy. Wheel of Fortune from this deck is speaking about some sort of negative external force that is keeping you stuck in a rut. Now, I feel that this could be directly connected to where some of you may find yourself right now. And though I can't speak directly on the exact details of your life because this is a general collective reading, it's just putting an emphasis on all of the things that the divine is asking you to finally move on from. It's like trying to get control over a situation that you'll never be able to get control over and just wasting your time, wasting your energy. Those precious life clock minutes are just burning away day after day. Don't forget the devil is the thief of time. That's it. That's how the devil shows up. Steals those seconds away from you. You only get so many. Don't forget that. A lot of you are in situations where people are becoming hostile because you're beginning to see through them and they can feel that. It's like you're a mirror that they can no longer control. It's like you can see everything that they're hiding inside of them. A lot of you aren't even trying to. It just is. This is just a superpower that the divine has given you, and it makes them feel uneasy. And this is why a lot of you are dealing with this very chaotic energy in your environments, whatever that may be for you. What do we have at the sacral, please? Wow. 7 of Cups, Scorpio energy at the sacral. A leopard cannot change their spots. I mentioned that some of you could be in situations where you're trying to get something under control, or you're trying to change something, or you're just trying to get someone to see your way, get someone to understand you, all the things that sort of fall into that category. But this is a futile effort. And this is the universe, again, saying to you, hey, you've done all you can do. It is what it is. Okay. Now it's time to choose yourself. You have far too much to lose now. And for some of you, just hearing that statement, you have far too much to lose now, could be very foreign to you, because some of you could be having a difficult time right now. I remember when I was going through my major awakening several years ago now, and I was pretty down and out. I had nothing, but mentally, spiritually, I was in a really good place. Somehow through it all, I managed to hold it all together, and it was because I had the support of the divine. My faith was very strong. I had hope. I knew that things would turn around, and I remember hearing a very clear message from the divine, hey, you have too much to lose now. And it took me getting on the other side of those struggles that I was going through to fully understand that. Because as I began to come out of that chapter in my life and the divine was positioning me in my purpose, I started to see, oh, this is what they were talking about. This is what I had to lose. I didn't understand it in the moment because I had nothing. And it all had to do with the path, the purpose, the mission. It had nothing to do with what I had materially at the time. And this is the exact same thing here for all of you. You could be hearing that very phrase, you have too much to lose now, and wonder what in the world that means. But it's your purpose. It's your mission. That's what you have to lose if you continue to stay in this cycle. This is really aligning perfectly with this Mercury retrograde. This one's a doozy because it's impacting our emotions on such a deep level. You know, this is decades of emotional baggage and or restriction and just karmic cycles that the divine is trying to help you purge right now. It's necessary to align you with your higher calling. There's no other way. This has to happen. You know, from my position over all of this, there's nothing to even fear. It's like as soon as you step into the mission and you take the divine's hand, so to speak, and you allow them to pull you out of the situation because you chose that, there's a certain level of protection that you will have over you where your worries just become a thing of the past. You know, a lot of you aren't taking that necessary first step because you're afraid of something, or maybe there's someone or something in your environment that is reactive, or you're just worried about how something's going to turn out. And though each one of you is facing a different set of circumstances, I obviously can't speak for all of you, but I do feel that a lot of you will find that your worry was completely unnecessary. And, you know, I'm looking right at this Six of Swords, right? It's like there you are. It's like there's your inner child right there sitting there. And then here's, you know, the ferryman. It's like that's a representative of the divine reaching out, helping you on the boat, taking you to this new beginning. Yeah, right on the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. Now, the Queen of Cups, that's a very reactive energy. So this could be connected to who or what you may be dealing with. This Queen of Cups is also an energy that's very codependent. So it's like somebody's codependent on your energy. And I feel that this is the kind of person or people that would never tell you that. It's like you see somebody's true colors when you finally try to disconnect. It's like saying, wow, I didn't know you had that in you. I didn't know you were that person. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Four of Swords, Libra energy at the solar plexus. Yeah, the Ace of Swords in reverse stacked with this Four of Swords is telling us that you can no longer afford to be you can no longer afford to be asleep, right? So this is the divine waking you up, showing you the truth, and you needing to accept the truth. There's an imminent upgrade here for you. I just can't express that enough to you. There's many, many confirmations around this. This loop that you have been in, this karmic cycle, it's over. It's been terminated. Based on this truth that you have now received, your system won't be able to process going back into this cycle. It's like an energy of, it's like your system wouldn't be able to process remaining idle any longer. Okay, it's like saying you don't take the divine's hand, you go back in the cycle and expect everything to just be the way it was. It won't be. There'll be something that is hanging so heavy on your spirit, the knowing, that truth. You won't be able to escape yourself. And I really feel that you'd be harboring some deep regret here, because the thing is, when you know this truth, that's when the poisoning of the spirit of the soul takes place. It's like the universe saying to you, hey, we've just shown you the truth. Let's go. And you say, no, I'm going to stay here. So then what happens is that creative potential or that inner calling that you have, the divine terminates. It's like the divine saying, okay, well, they didn't take the mission. We have to terminate the mission and maybe give it to somebody else. And that changes who you are. It's like the divine choosing you for something and you not accepting. You don't get to hold on to that. It's taken away from you. You know, I understand that That can sound heavy. That's a big responsibility. Just hearing myself say that, it's like, whoa, that's big. But again, I've been through this. I remember how I felt. I knew that if I didn't go down this path, that was it. I would have to succumb to an alternate version of my life that did not look good, even though that path that the divine had opened up for me seemed like a impossible feat. I had been driven to the edge of my life personally, and I really had nothing to lose in my previous life, but everything to lose in my new life. And that's going to make a whole lot of sense to some of you out there. It's like calling on the divine, praying, actively manifesting, and then they show up and you say, nah, you know what, I'm good. They're like, what? We have just reorganized time and space to be here to assist you. You don't just get to say, nah, I'm good. There's spiritual manpower that has gone into all of this behind the scenes. There's an energetic debt that needs to be repaid now. So again, the responsibility that all of you hold over you for this particular thing that you have been blessed with is a great one. But let's face it, this is what most people want. This is what people ask for. I just want to feel like I have a purpose. I have some meaning. I'm significant. And now it's here. It's showing up. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to accept it? Or are you just going to stand back and, nah, that's okay? How could you lay your head on your pillow at night after rejecting something of this magnitude? This is like turning away the divine and then continuing to accept somebody else's BS in this other karmic cycle, right? Just allowing an individual or individuals or some sort of circumstance to keep having its way with you. That's where we're at in this energy. This is serious stuff here. This is not a message for just anyone. This is a message for people who have been actively putting work into themselves, people that know that they have a higher calling. What do we have at the heart position, please, Spirit? Okay, we're going to start on this side of the card first. 2 of Cups. Cancer energy. It says right there, forgetting. Now, the 2 of Cups from this particular deck is putting an emphasis on what I feel a lot of you are being encouraged to move on from right now. It's just an energy of complete imbalance and an energy that's not aligned with you. And again, the divine is trying to make this so obvious to you right now. So there's absolutely no doubt in your mind the direction that you're supposed to be going. And then we have the 2 of Cups again on this side of the card, fruition. So forgetting, fruition. Negative polarity, positive polarity. So this is you moving on from the other cycle, stepping into the new cycle, and now we have this 2 of Cups, which is an energy of alignment. This is you being in partnership with the divine. This is you accepting the mission. And I just heard, and all is now right in the universe. I'm hearing something about, okay, they want me to give you guys this example. I've given this before in readings. I think it's been a while, but it's like being chosen by the divine to incarnate into a very karmic family, karmic environment, maybe a really karmic community. And you don't remember that you were chosen by the divine to do this, but you've always had something inside of you that was a bit different. You had some sort of, divine spark. And then the divine comes to you and says, hey, we sent you on a mission down here and you've been undercover for us this entire time. But now, we want to pull you out. And your whole life is obviously completely enmeshed in this cycle that it almost feels impossible to accept this mission. This is what I'm picking up here, something very similar. It's like going undercover, right? Like an undercover cop who goes into some massive crime ring, is in the crime ring for years undercover, and gets so enmeshed in the whole entire operation that he doesn't want to come out. That's what this feels like. It's like you have been undercover, spiritually speaking, inside this cycle. And now they're pulling you out. What do we have at the throat, please, Spirit? Wow. This just followed what I said. Look at the illustration. It's like there's your higher self pulling you out, rescuing you. Come on, let's go. The Lover's card from this deck. This is an energy of alignment. And it's like, there they are. The divines. Getting you out of there. Rescuing you. Before they raid the place, so to speak. What do we have at the third eye, please, Spirit? 5 of Cups, Scorpio energy, again at the third eye. So 5 of Cups, 5 of Cups. says right here, prosperity, destruction of the enemy, and deliverance from bondage, okay? So the Five of Cups from this deck underneath this Eight of Cups, this is an energy of moving on, accepting the truth, releasing the sadness, whatever that may be for you, and being on your way. Things there aren't going to change. They were never meant to. The only thing that was meant to change was you and your perception of the situation. It's like your outlook is changing. You have been given access to a higher vantage point. I just heard through the eyes of God. So it's like the divine is wanting you to look at the situation the same way that they would. What would they tell you to do in your situation? This is a tool that I actually use when making decisions in my own life. I'll think about my life and what I'm going through from the perspective of the divine. You say God, and it's like God is looking down over my life, and you simply ask, okay, what would God tell you to do? And the answer always seems very clear, but when you're able to change that perspective, when you shift the perspective from you to God, you can't deny the truth. There's so much that is stripped away in that moment because there's no gray area with the higher order. It's very black and white, very polarized. It either is or it isn't. Could you picture Source, God, whoever you look to for your supreme being saying, maybe. No. It's always going to be firmly yes or no. So when you shift your conscious awareness for a moment into the position of the higher order over your life, you know in an instant what your answer is. You may not be ready to accept it yet, but you know the answer. And there's a reason why I'm telling you all of that. So you do with that what you will. Okay, Spirit, what do we have at the crown to close this out, please? Wow. Unbelievable. The Tower. Mars, Aries, Scorpio energy. At the crown to close out the reading. Uriel, the fire of God. Disruption, warns of disasters, aids in transformation. This is so very clear, and all this tower is doing is confirming everything we channeled through right at the very beginning of the reading about the calling over your life, what you've been given. This is the divine giving you the memo. It's go time. There's no more time to waste. There's no more being lukewarm about anything here. This is clear in that I feel the message is the divine saying, okay, it's time to put that into action now. Okay, there's no more delaying. There's no more waiting. You don't need to do everything in an instant, but we need your commitment. We need you to take our hand here. It's time to move on from this energy that is taking way more than it's giving. You know, when you get on the other side of this, you're going to be appalled at how much it was keeping you from. It's always a part of this. It's a part of the healing process. I remember I went through this. When I got on the other side of the things that I was facing in my life at that time, I was disappointed in myself for having put so much energy into these spaces that are just so insignificant and so meaningless. And this is when you go through the cycle of forgiveness, forgiving yourself for that, for making those choices, asking the divine to forgive you. You didn't know any better. You know now. That's what this is all about. The divine is just trying to show you how much purpose you have for real. I mean, it's not found entertaining all these energies. This is the energy on this table of a true, real, down and dirty spiritual awakening. Somebody who's got that divine spark, someone who's been chosen for something very special. This is what it looks like. That tower is the destruction of any sort of false securities that you may have in your life that are keeping you tethered to these old timelines. This is the revelation. This is the wake-up call. So with that, I will leave it here. All right, this is what I have for all of you. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. If you feel you got something useful from this video, consider giving a hype, as those hypes help to get the video into the algorithm and push it out to other people. Information for personal readings can be found in the description down below, as well as information to join the membership side of my channel, where I upload additional videos each week. I'm also running a 15% off sale at PLUTOBEANstudio.com, which is made up of items that I have designed and created myself. If that's something that you're interested in, go check it out. But in closing, I would like to know how this reading resonated with you. So drop me a heart and or a comment, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.